السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتى اليقين فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه. My respected brothers and sisters, today we will continue the topic of earning and spending in cause of Allah, but today will be the final notes about it and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has presented the Islamic social security system of earning and spending and where to spend. These ayat we will discuss inshallah. The ayah number 200 we will jointly study ayah number 273 and 274 of second chapter Surah Al-Baqarah. So these ayat on the topic refers to a specific group of people and a specific form of given, and the beneficiaries, the condition is that the beneficiaries of those who receive those zakat and sadaqat and khairat should be an honest and honorable section of the society who have their dignity and self-esteem, and they do not go out and beg as a profession. They do not go out and continuously beg people. No matter how much they get, they are still there again the next day. So Quran establishes a criteria that who is poor and who needs to be helped and who is in genuine need. The ayah was revealed about a group of Muslims, those who migrated with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Makkah al-Mukarramah to Medina al-Munawwarah, and they left behind all their support system, their trade, their work, their professions, even their families. After this part of the people, this group of the people, the rules of this ayah universally apply to all people until the day of judgment, those who are in genuine need. These people settled in Medina. Some of them lived in and around those who did not have enough means, and those who did not have relatives in Medina. So they lived around the Prophet's sallallahu alaihi wasallam's masjid. They devoted their lives to the voluntary services to the community, which they became a new member of, which was a very small community at that time. They participated on the orders of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in military expeditions, and one of their other duties were to guard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his household and Masjid al-Nabawi, because even at that time in Medina, there were a lot of people, those who were against the migrants, as they are today. The immigrants coming, there were a lot of people, those who were against them. Why these people are coming? They will take they will become part of our economy. They will take our jobs away and all that. And they are foreigner to us. Who are they? And then there would always be, my respected brothers and sisters, there will always be people not able to earn their livelihood for valid reasons. There are valid reasons when people cannot earn their livelihood. They preserve their modesty and their dignity by not becoming a burden on the society and start begging from people. But at the same time, in all societies, there would always be those who would lie and cheat to get help which they do not deserve. Thus, in its unique style, the glorious Quran depicts a full and deeply poignant picture of human dignity, of the people, those who are in need, but they did not ask. Because they have the dignity, they have self-respect. Quran teaches examples of those people and puts people of all times face to face with those people of exemplary character at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So inshallah today we will start with recitation of the ayah and then the translation and then the tafsir. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم للفقراء الذين أحصروا في سبيل الله لا يستطيعون ضربا في الأرض يحسبهم الجاهل أغنياء من التعفف تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا وما تنفقوا من خير فإن الله به عليم الذين ينفقون أموالهم بالليل والنهار سرا وعلانية فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون صدق الله العظيم. And now the translation of these two ayat, my respected brothers and sisters. First, the ayah number 273. Charity is for the poor who are restricted from traveling in Allah's cause and cannot move in the land to find work or do their trade. Those who do not know them think of them as they are self-sufficient, means as they are some people who do not, they are somebody who doesn't need help. Because of their modesty and self-esteem, you may know them by their marks. They do not beg of people at all. And whatever you spend in good, surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it well. Those who spend their wealth in the cause, in Allah's cause, by night and by day, by secretly, voluntary charity is called secret, voluntary charity, which is sadaqah, that is given secretly. So secretly and publicly, they will have their reward with their Lord, and they shall have no fear, nor they will grieve. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Translation and the tafsir of these two ayat, my respected brothers and sisters, the portion where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said charity is for the poor who are restricted from travel in Allah's cause. Al-Qur'an says that word al-fuqara means for the poor. Lil-fuqara. Lil-fuqara means for the poor, because la came in the beginning. Lil-fuqara. Al-fuqara will be the poor. The poor. Lil-fuqara, for the poor, is connected with the ayah number 272, the previous ayah, where it says وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ, means that whatever good you give away. So it has to be given to the poor, those who are deserving. It ordains that spending or sadaqah is for the certain poor and deserving people in need. As-Siddi, Sayyidina Mujahid and others said that the ayah was sent to address the needs of the poor immigrants from Makkah to Medina and the locals, though, as there was no social welfare system at any time, like the time of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam there was, and then Isa alayhi salam established, and then Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam also established Islamic social welfare, social security system. But at that time in Medina, there was no social security system or social welfare system. These were 300 to 400 poor immigrants, those who came with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Makkah to Medina in different times, and they never had their family. They did not have any family, or they did not have their resources in Medina al-Munawwara. So a place was designated, like a veranda type area was designated, which is called Suffa in Arabic. It was built for them in the Masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they are called Ashab as-Suffa. Ashab as-Suffa means the people of Suffa, people of the veranda. They did not have any homes. The enemies in Mecca, and also their friends in Medina, the friends of the enemies of Muslims, of those who have migrated from Mecca to Medina, they fixed bounties on their heads that if they are arrested, or they are taken alive, or they are killed, they will be given some reward for their heads. So just because they joined Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Sayyidina Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, usually I have heard people saying Abu Dharr al-Ghaffari. It's not Ghaffari, it's Ghifari. He said that I was one of the people of Sufa. In the evening we used to come to the door of the Messenger of Allah, and he would order each of us, each and every one of us, and he would call an Ansar, a local person, and he would say that you should go with this local person and he will feed you your night meal tonight. Then there will be about 10 to 15 people left. Okay? Because number of people, those who accepted Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's message in Medina al-Munawwara were not too much, not too many people at that time. So these, whatever were left over, 10 or 15 people, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to share his meal on his sufra, used to share his meal with those 10 or 15 people, their night meal. And then they would go and sleep in the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. At-Tirmidhi reported that Sayyidina Al-Bara ibn Azib said, we own date palm trees. And I think we talked about this story, that some of us will bring the date palm, the date fruits, and they will hang it in the Masjid al-Nabawi. And people, those who were there and those who did not have means to get their food or earn their food, because if they would go out to work, it's not that they didn't want it to go out. It's not that they were couch potatoes, astaghfirullah, na'uzubillah, they didn't want it to go out, they just wanted people to feed them and give them things. No, they did not ask nobody. But they couldn't go out. If they go out, they didn't know who is the enemy and who is the friend. So they were, the fear of their life, they had to stay there because they came there, they migrated there, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create a situation which would be better for them than their situation in Makkah al-Mukarramah. So they can bring their families from Makkah al-Mukarramah to Medina and start living in the Prophet's city, Madinatul Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he says that some of us, the Abra ibn Azib said, some of us will bring the dates and hang it in the posts, in the pole or the pillars of Masjid al-Nabawi, and these people, whenever they were hungry during the day or night, they will take those dates and eat it. So some people, those who did not have good faith in their heart, the iman was not in their heart, because that's the best iman, which is in the heart. And then it comes to the tongue, and then it's proven by hand, not just by tongue, and then continue to do whatever else we were doing before. So some people used to bring the poor quality of dates, and they hang it there, which they don't want, and then nobody, if they want to sell, nobody would buy. So they would give it to these poor. Are not we doing exactly the same thing today? Because lack of our faith, things which we don't like, we give it to somebody, and things which we like, we iron it properly, hang it or keep it on display, that look what I have. We are living the days of arrogance before Islam. Today we are living and calling ourselves Muslims. So the Almighty Allah, because of that reason, revealed the ayah, ayah 267, which we discussed before. And he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillah ar-Rahmanir Rahim, O you who believe, spend of good things. Anfiqu, the give is spend of good things, of the good things which you like for yourself. That made a condition that you would only offer others what you choose for yourself if you were in the taking end of things. After that, people of faith only offered or traded what they liked for themselves. They would not even sell bad stuff, because if they were buying it, they wouldn't buy bad stuff. Lower quality stuff, they want the higher quality. So they stopped even selling the bad quality stuff. And if they had to consume, they consumed the bad quality for themselves, kept it for their families, and gave the good quality to somebody else. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in many ayats, وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِندَ اللَّهِ, that whatever you spend in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will find when you go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you face Allah, you will find sitting in front of you, deposited in your account. So what do you want to give? You want to give something which is of low quality, which you would not buy and you would not accept as a gift. But when it comes to giving, you would give something which you don't like for yourself. So unfortunately, the same situation is persisting today. And we call ourselves the followers of the last and final prophet and messenger, Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That was not the behavior and character. That was the behavior and character of munafiqun, of those hypocrites, those who say one thing and do it completely. By words they would say that we are Muslims, but by deed they will prove that they would keep the good things for themselves and give the poor quality to others. We are doing exactly the same. Sayyidina Mujahid Al-Qurtubi said, first few victories over the disbelievers of Makkah al-Mukarramah, their condition, the condition of Ashab Sufa and the people, those who immigrated with Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam to Medina, their condition started getting better. And they went, and at that time, some of the people of Ashab Sufa, those who were able-bodied, to work, you also have to be able-bodied. You're not to be sick, not to be very old, not able to work, or a woman who cannot go out and start looking for work, or people, those who did not have any skills. So those who have all those qualities, when the conditions start getting better, and the disbeliever who were in Medina al-Munawwara, they lost some of their friends from Mecca. They lost some of the skirmishes and battles against the army of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the situation got better, these people did not sit there and waited or ask Prophet to feed them. No, they went out and they started working. Okay, and the facility of Sufa remained there. It's still in Makkah, in Medina al-Munawwara. I have seen it. Now they have made it smaller, but the Sufa, that veranda, was still left as is. Of course, now they change it a lot and all that. It can't be as is over 1442 years. So I've seen that Ashab Sufa is still there. So at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the number of people, those who were staying in those verandas, when that number reduced, the facility was used for new deserving immigrants, and the students who started accepting Islam and started coming to Medina al-Munawwara. That facility was used for them to stay and also to study and watch the conduct and tradition and the sunnah of Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam firsthand. Sayyidina Mujahid and Al-Tabari and Al-Qurtubi said that the zakat and sadaqat should be given to those who cannot leave their houses for the reason of, now this is very important for everybody to pay attention to, that it is zakat and sadaqat should be given to. There are 9 specific kind of people in specific places where zakat should be used. Among those, and if you bring sadaqat into it, the voluntary charity, it should be given to those, and I have to directly quote here from Tafsir al-Tabari and Al-Qurtubi, and it says it should be given to those who cannot leave their homes to earn their living because of the fear, because of sickness, because of some disease, because of old age, or being physically and mentally challenged. There will be all kind of people in a society. There will be old, there will be sick, there will be mentally challenged, there will be physically handicapped, and physically and mentally challenged, deserving widows. There can be a widow who is very rich. There can be orphans, those who are rich, and their parents or father or mother left some good amount for them, so they can sustain on it. So not every widow, not every orphan is deserving. Those who don't have, that's why the scholars use the word deserving widows, needy orphans, homeless people, people who borrowed money for legitimate reason, not that somebody borrowed money to buy a gas station to sell liquor, or a liquor store, or it started dealing with lotto and this and that, and now he cannot pay. So you give him zakat or sadaqat money so he can pay his debt. No, that is haram. You cannot give it to a person who borrowed money for illegitimate means which are not allowed by Quran and Sunnat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if they cannot pay their debt and they borrowed money for legitimate reason, now they cannot pay, they don't have any, they lost money, things happen. So zakat and sadaqat can be used to pay their debts. and also freeing incarcerated prisons, incarcerated people in prison. I go to many prisons, and I have seen people that some of the people are incarcerated because they were in debt and their debt cannot be paid, so they are in the jail, in the prisons for a long time. And here is the Ummah sitting and asking and giving money to install a chandelier in a masjid. That person who is sitting, who is homeless, that widow who is deserving, that poor orphan, that person who is incarcerated in a prison deserves more than a chandelier or a new carpet in a masjid. And in the presence of those people in your community, if you spend your money on these kind of show-offs, then it is not a good deed, it is a sin. It is a good deed if you give it to deserving orphans, deserving people, homeless people, freeing the incarcerated people, sick who cannot afford a treatment. There are a lot of people, even in this country, whatever system you have, okay, that social security or this and that there is no, no system, what you call medical care, the hospitalization medical care system, which everybody can afford, So in that case, that money can be used. I mean, if it is in the whatever we call America, first world, if it is this here, that people don't have Medicaid or Medicare, and they don't have any kind of medical support system, think about the third world we call. That what people do in those worlds, and then you go out in those worlds, like in cities like in my country, in Turkey, you go to Istanbul or Mersin or some other big and famous cities, and you will see BMWs, and then you will go to the villages, and you would find that there are people, those who are hand to mouth, they don't even have enough to eat 3 meals a day, 2 meals a day. So we need to know that, and those who are from other Muslim countries, we know that we don't have but fortunately, alhamdulillah, fortunately in Turkey, the hospitalization and medical and healthcare system in Turkey is far much better than America. Yes. And the topic is not comparing America with Turkey or Turkey with Saudi Arabia, but I'm just saying it that that the availability of healthcare is far better. The next portion of the ayah says, "La yastati'una darban fil ard." They cannot travel in the land to look for work or do their trade. Allah describes those poor immigrants in a manner which obliges our compassion for them. Creates compassion in our heart for them. These word la yastati'un means that they are unable to. La yastati, that they are unable to, that they are restricted to move around. They cannot move around because of several different reasons. And it is not that they didn't want to work and they just wanted to sit around seeking help from the government or from the others. It is haram in Islam that if you are able to work and you don't try your best to find work and sit around and beg people from your relatives and from other people and going from house to house and door to door, in fettered clothes, and ask people to help the person out. They were unable to, those people, Ashab Sufa and people of that time and thereafter many times, there were people, they were unable to go out because many tribes and people and tribal people were against the immigrants from Mecca, as we are against the immigrants from certain countries, though this is a country of immigrants. The next part of the ayah says, those who do not know them, do not know about them as self-sufficient because of their modesty, you may know them by their marks, that they do not beg of people at all. This portion of the ayah means that they avoid begging from people. And they rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help to create a favorable situation for them over their newly found enemies in Medina. They left the enemies in Mecca, they came to Medina, now there are enemies here too. So they've asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help that we can't fight. There are too many. We have nothing. We did not bring anything with us. And we have no resources. We have no support system. You help us against these people. Because they did not beg, this Ashab Sufa, they didn't go out and spread their hand and ask people to give them something to eat or wear. People did not know. People did not know their plight, and they thought that they are self-sufficient because they came from Mecca and they are here. They may be traders. They may brought something so they can sell and they can make money, and they are not asking, so they may not be in need. Those kind of people, my respected brothers and sisters, are in our families. Those kind of people are in our communities. Is still today, this day today. You can find people, those who are deserving, but they don't go out and ask. But then you find professional beggars. They have sparks which they sell to each other. The sparks which gets them more money, like traffic lights. So people are standing there, and those sparks are sold in between people, auctioned in between people. And they are professional beggars, and to give them money is haram. We should not give them money. The ayah points out the consideration of poverty can apply to those, can also apply to those. Condition of poverty and being eligible for zakat can also apply to those who may not appear poor. May not appear poor. And Allah commands us that we can give them zakat and sadaqat. And it is not that they don't ask, it doesn't mean that they don't need. It is your duty to be aware of the people of need in your community and people of need in your society and in your family, among the relatives. The word ta'affuf, تحسبه الأغنياء تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس. No, let's go back to ta'affuf. The ta'affuf mean modesty or reticence, and in the context of refraining, their ta'affuf is that they refrain from begging from people. They don't ask for help. So next portion of the ayah says, تعرفهم بسيماهم لا يسألون الناس إلحافا. You may know them by their mark. They do not beg of people at all. This ayah is an evidence that distinguished marks of Islamic behavior. The distinguished marks of Islamic behavior have a legal bearing on whomever those signs appear, such as a person knows to be persistent in his obligatory practice of prayers, fasting, and if he has means, he give in mandatory charity zakah, and he performs hajj and practices genuine Islamic behavior and is an exemplary character and refrains from deliberate disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the marks on people. These are the marks on people. Their behavior, how they behave with Allah and how they behave with people. What comes out of their mouth and what action of their hands causes to others. The portion of this ayah teaches us that we should be aware of the economic condition, resources, and the needs of our relatives and the people of our community. It's a requirement to be a Muslim. A Muslim cannot be someone who doesn't know how his neighbor doing. So it's one of the hadith I quoted, I guess, last week or the week before, that a person whose neighbor slept hungry is not a Muslim. A person whose neighbor has not eaten, that person is not a Muslim. It helps us fulfilling, knowing that there are people, those who need our help. It helps us. It makes it easy for us to give in charity. To who to give. When you go and find out who is more deserving, then you can give them. So it helps us instead of getting confused that whether this person is this or this person is that. We should know our community. We should know our the relatives, those who are in need, because of their modesty and humility, people don't come to you. But so don't assume that they don't need you. Don't assume they don't need you. There are 2 brothers, 4 brothers, 10 brothers in a family. Okay, same blood. And one is doing very well and others are not. It is the responsibility of the guy who is doing very well to take care of those who are next to kin to him and bring him at the same level, and and deal with them with all honesty. If he knows some trade which he's making better money, give a share. Invite your brother to come, loan him money, and say, if you will make it, you would return it back to me. Return it back to me, and he will. Because of my respected brothers and sisters, our leaders. Now, go back to this topic again, which I always, it's a heartache for me. That our leaders appeal every Friday and every Eid prayer and throughout the years through emails, social medias, text messages, and phone calls to financially help that religious organization or the political organization. What about them learning the financial hardship and the help of the people of that community, whom they are sending text messages to help them? Send them text message and find out, how is everything, what's going on, and help them also. Once in a while, do that too. Unfortunately, and it is, this is my personal knowledge, and some people, those who are with me, also have seen it, that I have personally seen some community leaders of the masajid, leaders of the masajid, receiving items from food banks. They took the meat and chicken to their own houses, and they gave the staples, and they gave rice and oil and a little bit of sugar to the poor people of the community whom they know. They don't know somebody, but the person looks poor. They wouldn't give it to him. They give it to the poor they know. Okay? But they took the meat and chicken to their own house. I've seen it personally. And I pointed it out to them that, look, what you are doing is wrong. Because the leader expects you to keep your mouth shut. Don't speak up. Don't say anything. He will be offended. So what? Who asked you to come and take the leadership role? If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Let somebody else come in. 30, 40, 50 years, these people are sitting, controlling our political and our religious organizations. And if you say something to them, here is what happens. Anytime those people see me that I am in a gathering or coming anywhere, if I am even approaching to say salam to them, they will walk away.
That's true.
They'll walk away. We don't even want to take salam from him because he is not submissive. He's not under our thumb. We can't put our knee on his neck. So let's just walk away. The word sima, my respected brothers and sisters, that simahum fi wujuhihim, that the word sima means a distinguished sign or a mark. That means sima. The word is used in 5 other times in glorious Quran in similar or different meanings, such as in chapter Al-Araf, 7th chapter, ayah 46 and ayah 48, chapter Muhammad, ayah 47, chapter ayah 30th, chapter Al-Fath, 48, chapter ayah 29, and chapter Ar-Rahman, chapter 55, ayah 41. Sayyidina Mujahid ibn Zayd and As-Suddi said the sign of poverty is in their humbleness, humility, and modesty. They try to cover their poverty. And their need can be seen on their faces. You must have seen a lot of people around you. You look at their face, you can say, this person, there is some problem. This person looks like that he needs some help. I have seen so many of them. And in their words, and it's not always, you can see the sign in their faces and in their words, and they are not, and it is not always about the dirty or tattered clothes with holes or patches on it. Almighty Allah means in chapter Al-Fath, their marks is on their faces. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the prayer marks. All the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had the prayer marks. All of them have prayer marks of prostration on their faces. Some of them was very well off, some of them were very rich, and some of them were poor, and they needed charity, and they were receiving aid, they were receiving help and zakat and sadaqat from the rich companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there are thousands of examples in hadith, and even in Quran Allah mentioned that. The next ayah which we will be, in ayah number 274, talks about one specific companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu wa karamallahu wajh. The scholars say that humbleness and modesty is distinguished. Scholars say it's not about the signs of prayer marks on their faces. This is what we look at people: the length of beard, the type of attire, and a prayer marks, and a color of the cap, green, brown, blue, red, whatever, or white. So we look, that became a sign of piety. The scholars say that the humbleness of the person, his humility and his modesty, is distinguished mark of faith which remains in people's heart, and they practice it. When they open their mouth, they practice it. When they do something with their hand, they show it with their practice. That is the sign Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. And they give another example, that it is not the ayah, which talks about that simahum fi wujuhihim min athar as-sujud, that they have the prayer marks on their forehead. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also talks about in Surah Rahman, using exactly the same word. Chapter 55, ayah 41, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَعْرَفُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ بِسِيمَاهُمْ فَيُؤْخَذُوا بِالنَّوَاسِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the wrongdoers who do not repent will be known by their marks on their faces. And they will be grabbed by the 4 hair locks, the hair on the front of your forehead, on the front hair. They will be grabbed from there and from their feet, and they will be dragged. So it's not about the prayer mark only. It is about the practice of what you believe. That is the mark Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. We have twisted and to just give ourselves importance and show our piety to somebody else. Piety is somebody which people notice. You don't have to show it. The word ilhafa means insistently, unceasingly, continuously, and non-stop. Ilhafa. An insistent beggar begs from everyone, and continuously pesters them with his and her begging. Dear brothers and sisters, An-Nasai and Sahih Muslim reported from Sayyidina Abu Huraira that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the very poor man, now listen to this hadith, the very poor man is not the one who is sent back by a date or two, or a bite or two, or a dinar or two, something little, give it to him and he would leave. The very poor man is the one who does not ask. The very poor man is the one who does not ask. You have to know, you have to find that person. At-Tabari, Al-Zajjaj, and Al-Qurtubi, and many others say that it means that we need to find people in genuine need who do not beg at all. We need to find people. This responsibility is put on people to go find those people, those who are in your community, and get there and help them out. And they do not beg at all, and those who do not beg they are the ones, those who do not beg every day as a professional from everyone as the professionals do. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about, that ilhafa, la yas'aluna an-nasa ilhafa, that these are the people, those who do not persistently, continuously, unceasingly, non-stop beg people. But the real people in need are the ones, those who do not ask, and you find them. So you double and triple and 100 times your reward by you finding and giving something to somebody. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked about those somebody, who they are. A person who is incarcerated in the prison, he is in need. So somebody should pay so he can get out. Though some people say that, well, they get paid 67 cents, which is nothing, which you can't do nothing with it. And the very poor, that is where the real test, this is to go and find out the people in need, is a test for those who have the means and who have the money and who have their health and their wealth intact. It is their test to go find a needy person and give it to him. Sayyidina Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan narrated from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that don't be insistent in asking. By Allah, one of you may ask me for something and gets what he wants from me, though I dislike him doing it. Sayyidina Imam Malik in his Muwatta narrated a man of the Banu Asad. Let's look at the time, how much time we have, so we can complete. Okay, I think we can do it. So we can skip one hadith. May Allah forgive me for that. And the examples of the hadith indicates that whoever, I think I have to mention this portion of the hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, somebody came and asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for some help. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that you are not deserving for the help. There are people, those who are poorer than you, and then I will, I will give it to them. So he became angry. The person became angry, and he left. And he says, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him that I don't have anything to give you. The man turned away angry at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, by my life, you give to those whom you know, or you wish to give. So he blamed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Astaghfirullah na'udhu billah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and this is where we need to pay attention to. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that he is angry with me because I do not have anything to give him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't have anything to give him at that time. So he says, he is angry with me because I don't have anything to give him. Whoever asks you, O people, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, O people, whoever asks you to give while he has an uqiyah, which is 40 dirham, which is equivalent to 10.903 grams of silver, okay? Gumush in Turkish, in Urdu it is, silver is chandi, right? Okay. So somebody who has an amount or anything equal to 10.903 grams of silver is misusing charity and committing a sin by asking people's help. That person should not be asking if he has equivalent to anything equivalent to that amount. Suppose he has a goat. Well, the goat would be more than 10.093 grams of silver. So he shouldn't ask people to help. So this is the criteria Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned. So the example indicates that anyone who has 40 dirham equivalent to 10.903 gram of silver or equivalent must not beg for help from people. Help like in, you want to move a carpet from here to there, that help is different. But when somebody goes out and asks for food and asks for clothes and asks for some money because he is poor, that person, if he has anything valuable equivalent to the price of 10.903 grams of silver, he is not supposed to beg. And if you know that he has it, you shouldn't give it to him. Al-Qur'an said that I don't know of anyone who has knowledge of this religion of Allah and begs when they have equivalent to the amount which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has described. Those who have knowledge of this deen, they have this much amount, they would not ask help from anybody. To live out of your envelope, it is your fault, and don't put it on people to support your habits and support your desire for competition with somebody. Hafid ibn Abdul Barr quoted from Sayyidina Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahmatullah alayh, when he asked somebody came to Sayyidina Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal when begging is permissible. He says when a person, listen to this, when begging is permissible, he said when a person does not have enough for two meals. If he has enough to have third meal, he should not ask. We have professional beggars in every Muslim country, in every stupid traffic light. You know, men and women with children, bring children out, don't send the kids to school or send them to night school so they can earn, earn money, beg money from people. It's all haram. It's all haram. It is reported in Sunan Abu Dawud and Sunan al-Nasai and others that a Persian man, a man from Persia, came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked, I am in need, Ya Rasulullah, should I beg? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no. But if you must beg, if you must ask someone to help, ask a righteous person, not stand on the traffic light and ask anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry, to give you money. A righteous person. Because if the money is earned right and is given in charity, will earn the reward to the giver and the reward to the taker both. Because the money was earned right. But if the money was not earned right, there is no reward for giver. And if the taker took money from a guy who has a liquor store or something like that, if he takes it from there, a person who is not in legitimate business, then he knowingly takes his money, then that is a sin for the taker and sin for the giver. Not zakat, no khairat, not sadaqah. It means that when a person does not have enough to feed him 2 meals, he is allowed to ask people of righteousness and excellence who earn from permissible means. You can ask. He should come to the person, ask him 3 times, and apologize the 3rd time for asking for it. And if he gets something, he should thank Allah. And if he gives him as a loan, then he must return. But if a person knows somebody who is in need, and that person comes to you and asks you for help, and you know, and your income is from legitimate means, then you should help that person. If he is on drugs, or if he is going to spend in marijuana or alcohol and this and that and all kind of other things, then giving money to him is a sin. He is committing a sin and the giver is committing a sin. Imam Malik reported from Sayyidina Asa ibn Yasar that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent a gift. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent a gift to Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, and Sayyidina Umar returned it. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, why did you return my gift? He says, Ya Rasulullah, didn't you tell us that it is better for us not to take anything from anyone? Not to take anything from anyone. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that is by asking. That if you are begging somebody and get something, you should not beg. Provision which is given to you, that comes to you, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if I have sent you something, you should have taken it because you didn't ask for it. So Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab said that by Allah, I will not ask anything from anyone all my life, no matter how dire my need is, and if anything comes to me without asking, I will accept it. I will accept it. Sahih Muslim narrated from Sayyidina Abu Huraira that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, anyone who asks people for something more than his real need, is asking for a hot ember from the hellfire in his arm. People would borrow money, people would take money to buy a bigger car. It's not a necessity. Who are you going to show it off? If it is taken for show off, it is taken in competition, then that money is haram. You should not take it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is the hadith in Sahih Muslim from Sayyidina Abu Huraira, and I repeat, anyone who asks people for something more than what they really need is asking for a hot ember from hellfire. There is no harm for a person in dire need to ask 3 times and ask and apologize as a courtesy that if I didn't have this real need, I would have not come to you. The need have to be real. He shouldn't lie, because if he lies, he is lying to the giver, the person he is asking, and he is lying while Allah is watching him. He's lying. You know, people, those who come with medical certificates and this and that and beg for money and this and that, and if you go to their house, they would not feed you. They would not feed you, right? And so you would know that these people do not have money. So you may give them something out of your niceness, your kindness, that these are my relatives, or these are my neighbors, or these are my community members, and they did not have anything, not even give me a cup of tea when I went to their house. So let me send them some tea and sugar and milk or something as a gift. So if they did it for the genuine reason, then you should still send them the gift. But if they did it to take something from you, which they should have not, then it is a sin upon them and not for you. If one asked, knows the truth and is able to give, he is obliged to give. If you know the truth that the person is in need, you must give. You must give. And that is a good deed. But if he doesn't know the asker, somebody coming, a beggar is coming, and you don't know, but you feel like he looks like someone who is in need, and you never saw him at the same traffic light every day from morning to night, and then somebody else takes over. These are shifts. These are 8-hour shifts, some of the beggars running, in areas where they can get more money. So if you give, you shouldn't give to those kind of people. But if somebody you never know, you never came, you never saw, you never run into, and he comes and asks you, and he looks like someone who may need, his need may be genuine, then you give whatever you can, okay, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will be rewarded. Now we come to the tafsir. That's where it ends, and beautifully ends the topic of giving in an Islamic social security system, which is the topic of today. And that is the ayah number 274, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Those who spend their wealth in Allah's cause by night and day. Wealth does not mean that you have to be wealthy. Remember the hadith, that if you have one date, date fruit, you make it in pieces and give one piece to somebody else, and Allah will accept it and reward you, very, very huge reward for it. So those who spend their wealth, their sustenance, I should say, in Allah's cause by night and day, secretly and publicly, they will have their reward by their Lord, and they shall have no fear, nor they will grieve. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anh said that this ayah was revealed about Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anh, karamallahu wajh, who had 4 extra dirhams. He had 40 dirhams, okay, because that's the level of that is equivalent to 10.093%, 10.903%, 3 grams of silver, to 40 dirham of the time. So he had more than 40 dirhams. So he had 4 dirhams more. So what he did, he gave 1 dirham in the morning, and 1 dirham at night. During the day, 1 dirham during the day, 1 dirham during the night, and 1 dirham secretly, and 1 dirham openly. Okay, so he gave sadaqah, and he gave zakat, and he gave in the night, and he gave in the day. So that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this ayah about Sayyidina Ali. Look at his status in Islam, subhanallah. That الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ أَمْوَالَهُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً فَلَهُمْ أَجْرُهُمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ وَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guaranteed that kind of people that if they give in the day and in the night, then their reward is with Allah, and they will have no fear, and they will not grieve. What day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the fear of this life, and fear at the end of the life, and grieve on the day of judgment. When people will be all people will be called out from their graves, and they will be running towards the place of assembly of day of judgment. They will have no fear that day, and they will have no, they will not grieve. that what's going to happen with us. Allah is already guaranteeing them that they will have their rewards. They will have their rewards, so they don't have to fear. They will not grieve, and they will get what Allah offers them. This ayah gives a concise summary, my respected brothers and sisters, and a striking harmony of the subject of charity in Islam. It reiterates and reassures that those who give because of their care and concern of humanity, they have faith, and then their rewards, and they are looking for their rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That should be your intention, not show off. Our intention should be that we love these people genuinely, that because they are in need, and I have faith, and my faith teaches me to share what I have, share my knowledge, share my wealth, share whatever, but share my physical abilities with people, those who are in need, and we have described those people, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described those people in the Quran, and then you are looking forward to the rewards of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that they will have their reward, which includes an increase. In this life, what they have, Allah will increase. مَا نَقَصَ مِن مَالٍ فِيهَا صَدَقَةٌ. That there is nothing reduces your wealth if you give sadaqah in it. If you give sadaqah from it, your wealth will continue to increase, not decrease. So this provides the most, their faith and act of charity earn Allah's pleasure also. Hence they need no fear in this life, and no fear in the grave, when the grave will be closed upon everybody, each and every one of us. Okay? Because it has closed upon on billions and billions before us, those who are much better. They were messengers and prophets of Allah. Their graves were closed on them. It is going to close on us one day. We will, if we don't want fear in our grave, then we should earn halal, and we should spend in halal. We should avoid everything which have a doubt of showing off. That I'm doing it because my brother did it, or my brother's wife did it, or my so-and-so did it, or my neighbor has this, so I should have that. If it is done for that, then it is sin. If it is done that if I am doing it, so I provide my family to the best of my capability, but I provide my needy relatives, and I provide my community, those who are deserving people, and if I provide them, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward me. Then that is a good deed. This provides, my respected brothers and sisters, the most appropriate final note about the Islamic ethical code of charity. Why are we giving? You have to earn halal. You have to earn from permissible means, and then the charity counts. If the permissible means, if it is not permissible from permissible mean, and person says, well, I'm involved in it, but I don't use it. I don't drink it. I don't drink halal. I don't eat halal, but I have a Kentucky Fried Chicken. Excuse me. If Allah said, because we have to stay away from things where there is doubt, even doubt, staying away from doubt is sign of faith. If we keep falling in doubt, we will definitely fall in haram. To refrain from haram, from prohibited things, we have to stay away from doubtful things. If there is a doubt, we have to stay away from it. That is the first step towards correcting ourselves, correcting me. So, Islam, this provides a great final note about the Islamic ethical code of charity, representing a vital aspect of Islamic community and Islamic social security system. Although, my respected brothers and sisters, unfortunately, in the so-called Muslim world today, Muslim countries today, there is no practical example of the social and economic life Islam taught its followers. Not in Saudi Arabia, not in any country. There is no practical example of social and economic life, no matter if you call your country Islamic Republic of whatever. The Islamic teachings are based first and foremost on the provision. This is the responsibility of the government. in an Islamic country, the people, those who call themselves Muslims, that it is based on fear, first and foremost, it is based on provision of work and a decent means of earning and living for all those who are able to work. This is the first and foremost responsibility, not just go out and take over a piece of land and build a masjid over it. There are a lot of masajid, my respected brothers and sisters, those who are built on lands which has been just taken by people, and put a masjid there so you can have your seat of power in there. That's haram in Islam. The first responsibility is to provide opportunities and living means to people. It is based, second is based on equal and on fair and equitable distribution of wealth in the community through zakat and sadaqat, and with the aim of achieving a proper balance. Should be achieving a proper balance in input and reward. You know, the rich of Muslim countries don't give nothing but get everything. That is not Islam. No matter of what kind of garment they put on, no matter what they call themselves, you know, or what title they use, that is not Islam. They are not following Islam. That they don't put anything but they take everything. Nevertheless, there will always be times when people fall short for various and exceptional reasons, and they need to be provided through charity. Those people should be provided through charity. There were times we discussed in time of Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz that there were nobody in the Islamic country, in the whole Islamic state, there was nobody who came out and claimed for zakat. No poor was left. So then it comes in two forms. The help comes in two forms, and those forms we discussed. Number one was obligatory charity, which is zakat, and number two, sadaqat, which are voluntary. Obligatory contribution are levied only by Muslim authorities. You know, a government which call itself, the leader call himself Muslim but never follows Islam, cannot implement rule of zakat. The leader have to be Muslim himself, following Islam himself. Then he can talk about Islam and establish Islam. The obligatory charity is a source of public revenue for the Islamic government. Although it is allocated for a specific purpose which cannot be broadened in other needs. That he takes it for 9 different things, but he cannot. He takes it for, the money comes into the government and they spend on 9 different things, but they cannot broaden it more than 9. That will be taken from sadaqat. On the other hand, the voluntary charity is not limited or restricted. It is up to those who can afford it to make directly to the poor and needy. Not give it to the government. Give it to the poor and needy. Following the ethics and codes given earlier so that the recipient preserve their dignity and self-esteem, as this ayah illustrates very clearly. It take one hadith and one more small paragraph, inshallah. We went over time, about 3 minutes. At-Tabarani reported that a man from Quraysh named Al-Harith was in Syria. And he saw Sayyidina Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, a very famous companion of Prophet Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, from Medina. But he migrated after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's demise from this world. A lot of companions couldn't stay because they used to see Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam there, and he used to see him, used to hear his voice, and then now they don't see it, now they don't hear his voice, so they moved to different areas. And the benefits came out of their move also, because the companion went there, and then his family and his students went there, and Islam is spreaded like that. So he saw the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, was in need of help. Okay, so he sent him 300 dinars. This man is Quraysh. He was from Quraysh. His name was Al-Harith. He sent him 300 dinars. When the money arrived, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari Try it with today's leader, rather the religious or political leader, that he receives money and he says, I don't deserve it. Abu Dhar Ghaffari was in need, but when it came to him, he saw those 300 dinar, he was shocked, and he asked the person who brought it to him, could not Al-Harith find anybody else more unfortunate than me in need of this money? Why you couldn't find anybody else who needed this money more than I do? He said, I heard the Prophet said, the companion Abu Dharr al-Ghifari radiallahu anh said, I heard the Prophet saying, if someone begs and he has 40 dirhams, he is misusing the charity. My family has 40 dirhams in cash. They also have a sheep, and they also have some other property. I don't take these 400 dinars, 300 dinars. And he returned it. Islam has at the end, Islam has a fully integrated and comprehensive system of comprehensive socio-economic system, and its rules and ethic works harmoniously together, supporting and reinforcing each other. Supporting and reinforcing each other means the rich and poor, they work together, support each other, and stabilize the entire community. It starts from a family to community to the entire society and the country. Supporting and reinforcing each other. It was this feature, the Islamic social security system of Islam, which attracted people to Islam, which established that unique and pioneering society, the like of which this world has yet to see again. أقول قولي هذا واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. We'll make dua, and I request that please invite more and more people to the program. Please share it with others on other social medias also. This is a free program. The only benefit I'm looking for would be inshallah in my grave the day I die and buried. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب جهنم وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك إيمانا كاملا ويقينا صادقا ورزقا واسعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وحلالا طيبا وتوبة نصوحا وتوبة قبل الموت وراحة عند الموت والمغفرة عند الحساب والفوز بالجنة والنجاة من النار برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. والفاتحة. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Thank you very much for joining us. Inshallah, same place, same time next week. Please invite others and share. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.